How can a mother admit to killing her 3 children, but potentially be found not criminally responsible for their deaths? That is the question at the center of Lindsay Clancy's landmark murder trial. Clancy killed 5-year-old Cora, 3-year-old Dawson, and 8-month-old Callan with exercise bands at their Massachusetts home in 2023 before attempting to take her own life and being left paralyzed. Her defense argues she was experiencing severe postpartum psychosis. Prosecutors say she planned the killings, sending her husband Patrick out for takeout and medication for one of the children. But Clancy's family described a devoted mother whose mental health was deteriorating, with Patrick's mother testifying that she was begging for help. Days after the killings, Lindsay also told Patrick that she had heard a male voice ordering her to kill their children and then herself, according to a psychologist who witnessed the call. Meanwhile, this case has blown up online, with online sleuths accusing Patrick of committing the killings himself and framing Lindsay, despite his alibi being supported by surveillance footage and phone records, and Lindsay's own defense saying she did it. So this trial is about far more than guilt or innocence. It could even change how medicine and the law understand postpartum psychosis. For the full story and all the latest from the court proceedings, listen to the trial of Lindsay Clancy wherever you get your podcasts.
This has definitely become a big deal, a big conversation, and I've been hearing and seeing a lot of it. And, unfortunately, when conversations like this are happening, you're having it with, with people who are from different backgrounds, who have, different upbringings, different understandings. They're at a place of, different education levels, different levels of understanding context, narrative, hyperbolic, like people who read, people who don't, people who are emotional, people who are essentially just nonchalant all the time. And what happens with that is that you just get a whole bunch of mess going on, a whole bunch of opinions, and it turns into mayhem. But the reality of it is that all we are to hope for is that, a fair trial is given, because there were 3 children who were unalived, and they should not have been. And from what I've seen so far of the trial, which I believe they've had closing arguments, or they're doing closing arguments this week, she was not diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. And people are literally, even though she's admitted to unaliving her children, people are literally saying still saying her husband did it. And that's what I be talking about. Like, a lot of times I don't even follow cases because I just wait for the outcome. And maybe if there's someone who's an attorney or someone who's familiar with how to read and follow court proceedings, then I may listen to their synopsis or summary on it. But other than that, I try to stay out of the weeds of people's opinions, because it just gets really, really messy. Information gets skewed, and it becomes really biased. But a mental health counselor testified in the case, and I want to play that video as well. Let me play that, and I have another video to play, and I'll play that as well too.
Did you ever in this visit see signs of mania?
No.
And is that something you look for?
Yes.
And did you ever see signs of delusions or paranoia?
No.
How about psychosis?
No.
Would it surprise you to know that they indicated that they couldn't treat her as a woman with postpartum psychosis or postpartum depression or postpartum anxiety or any of that, because their opinion was that she was suffering from an over-medication?
It would surprise me, yes.
Yeah, so here you have a mental health counselor who observed Lindsay Clancy and is saying she did not have postpartum psychosis. And, the defense is obviously going to say and do whatever they believe needs to be done to try to prove that she's not. They know that they've admitted that she's done it, but they're trying to prove that she wasn't in the right state of mind, so she wouldn't be criminally charged, and will be able to get the help she needs. There's so many people who, to my surprise, and I don't know if I should be surprised or if I shouldn't, but that's besides the point, but are literally defending her in ways that I think are unhealthy, because how I look at things is just more logical and just straightforward. I don't need to experience postpartum to know that it exists. I also don't need to be a woman to know that when you're going through something, if you are mentally ill, that things can run through your mind. I'm a human being. I'm a man, though I have not, I could never be pregnant, experience postpartum in any way, shape, or form. There are other things that I could experience and deal with that could bring about those type of delusions or those type of psychosis. And unfortunately, it seems like there's less people involved in this that have a desire to simply bring awareness, but also make sure that this is properly handled in terms of justice. Those children still need justice. Many people have done things that they were ill. They were hearing voices. They were under influence. But if you take someone's life, especially children's life, that does not give you a pass. That does not lessen the fact that you need to be in jail for what you did. Could there have been some steps taken to help this woman? I'm sure. Like, that's just inevitable in life in general. Like, things can be, hindsight, as they say, is 20/20. You can look back and say, oh, we probably should have done this differently. Possibly. I don't know what all really happened. None of us really do. But, and even in court, you have two sides. You have the prosecution, you have the defense. And, they're just presenting evidence and allowing evidence to tell the story. And because this case isn't about whether she did it. We know she strangled her children, all three of them, and the evidence have proven that. They're trying to say she should not be held criminally liable. I disagree with that. I can disagree with that and believe possibly, because no one has said that she was actually diagnosed with postpartum psychosis. That's not what the evidence has presented thus far. That's just what people are saying. But even a mental health counselor was literally saying, I did not detect any of that. And sometimes I believe people get lost in wanting to win and be right more than justice prevailing, because they want to essentially not have the spotlight shined on women in a way that would be derogatory, or in a way that, that some men would weaponize against them. At the end of the day, for me, this is about justice. Like, justice for those children. And if she needs help, she can get help while she's in there, while she's locked up. But those kids need justice. You're not just supposed to get off just because you didn't get the help you needed. And of course, this is deeper than that, right? But just on the surface, that should not be why someone gets away, because plenty of people, men and women and teenagers, and even like preteens, have done things, unalived people, and have been sentenced to time in jail because they committed a crime, even though there's proof that there was something wrong with them. So let me play this last video.
We're here today to support Lindsay, but also all these incredible women that you see pouring in. I think this has become less of a trial. Whatever's going on behind those doors in the courtroom, it's become more about how Lindsay's been failed in obtaining the mental health. See,
and that's the point I'm making. This isn't about justice for a lot of these people. They're just out there saying, oh, she's been failed. Well, that's the part you can tackle. You could do it now. Hey, yeah, it's a free country. You can do what you want. But what should be the priority is justice. What happened to those children was wrong, period. No ifs and buts about it. That should be the part that you focus on. And then if you want to help and speak to how she was failed, you can do that in another way and at a different time, in a way that is more respectful. And when I say respectful, protest, I don't see anything wrong with showing up for support. But the way I've heard dialogue around it and wanting her to actually be found not criminally liable, that's beyond me. Even though many people have done things and didn't get the help they needed, and they were found criminally liable. For whatever reason, this case has, just gone viral, and a lot of people are following it. But this isn't about justice, and they don't mention anything about the children, unfortunately.
That she deserved.
I think a lot of us are here today because what we're seeing transpire hits close to home in many different ways. I'm a nurse before I was ever a mother, and I got introduced to the broken healthcare system that we all know that we have. Within that broken healthcare system is an even more broken mental health care system, and then women suffer in every aspect from that.
I have a personal connection. I worked with Lindsay for a few years, so I know who the person she was before this. And when I first saw her face flash across the news on my TV, I was shocked. She was the last person I would ever suspect to do something like this, so I knew in my heart of hearts that something was seriously wrong.
Regardless of our individual speculation, we did not come here to protest or to rally or to scream our opinions about what happened behind the walls of the Clancy home in January of 2023. We're here to send one message, and that message is that it should not take tragedy for people to start paying attention to mental health.
Yeah, like I said, at the end of the day, she's criminally liable for this. And, people are going to feel however they're going to feel. You just have to understand there's a consequence for this. She said, yeah, I work with her. I can't ever imagine her doing it. How many times have we heard people say, oh, I can't imagine them doing that? Yeah, because you didn't know them. You didn't know them. Like, it's nothing new. But at the end of the day, I think we have to, I respect these people. Even though I disagree with them, I respect them. You get to have your opinion, and I get to know what you think, and where you land. You get to know what I think and where I land. I think she should be criminally liable. I don't know why that word is giving me such a hard time. But y'all let me know in the comment section what you think about the case, if you followed it a bit more than I have, and what your thoughts are. I'd love to engage with you in the comment section. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. This channel is about all things There's Hope. Like the video, let the algorithm know that you like this type of content. Also, you can connect with the brand online at www.there'shopebrand.com. We sell merch there. And lastly, we are both a brand and a ministry. We do things in our local community to help those who are less fortunate. We connect with nonprofits and help where there's need. So if you'd like to donate to that information is in the description below, and I'll catch y'all in the next video.